Hello, the game has started. It's me to go first. I have a pretty awful rack, no way of getting rid of the queue, and no big score on offer, so I am changing. And I'll certainly get rid of these tiles. Should I keep the D or the L? I don't think they go well with the C, so I'll keep these three. Fantastic. This is surely a guaranteed bingo. Absolutely beautiful rack. Just too many options to mention. Well, I guess the blank has to be a vowel. But even with that constraint, there are a lot of options. Certainly with the A, there's about 7 or 8 bingos. With the E, there's centres, and 10 recs, and possibly one other. With the I, cretins, and I think some others, cistern. With the O, conster, and others. And with the U, not so sure about the U. But if opponent changes, I'll be putting my C on one of these double letter squares. And I'll probably use the blank to duplicate the E to minimise the number of different floaters on the board. Wow, what a start for opponent. That's not what I was expecting. I was looking forward to enjoying an early lead, but it's my opponent who has struck first, and that's a really good find. So the best lane is row E. It's a double-double. Do I have a bingo with this rack plus an H? And this is fairly easy to manage. I only really need to consider the blank as a vowel. So snatcher, stancher. Is there a third bingo with the blank as an A? Tranches, and none of those hit the second double word square. So how about the blank as an I? Christen. And Citherns, that will do. Citherns for 82. Bang! What a start to the game. 2 bingos on the board and both blanks played. So, do I have fatigate? I think that may be good through either I. I have a slight doubt about it. Now my F, if it's not good, can go underneath the I or next to the A of Acholia. And I would be looking to play off the F. It is non-bingo-y, and it's my scoring tile. And I'd also be looking to sort out the duplicates. Great, fatigate remains available. Let's see if it's good. For 73. And it is fantastic. So, another 1 vowel rack. But with the right floater, I would have a bingo. Through an E, I would have brittles and blitters. But no floating vowels at all, apart from this pair of vowels in row I. So do I have something there? Not that I'm seeing. Opponent may well seek to play with the J. That must look potentially pretty scary. Wow, and he doesn't. And he does put an E in the open. And it's no good for me because it's too far to the left of the board. What a shame. Do I have anything through the I? No. And have I considered all anagrams or all bingos through the E? I considered blitters and brittles. And I think triplets may be good, and that fails by 1 square. How disappointing. Now, I have jibs at the top, which has some merit. The main one being the score, 39 points, but a pretty awful Rackley, really dependent on drawing 2 vowels to have anything half decent. So, is there an alternative play? Well, what about Blurt? 26 points, 13 fewer points, but a vastly better Rackley, in particular preserving the S, so this is better. And I'm inhibiting my opponent from scoring off the J, and I'm leaving a Rackley which is doubly beneficial given the floaters that are currently available and the S hook for Blurt. I am going with this. Great, I have Riot Eyes. Do I have anything which actually plays? Well, Riot Eyes does play. It plays in column 9. I have Riot Trees in column 10. What else do I have? Well, Riot Trees in row L. So I should be bingoing. It's possible all of those will be blocked, but there may well be other bingos I have not yet identified. Are there any good lanes? Well, row H, beginning with I, that's not looking promising. Look at this, just 7 points separating us in score with opponent on turn. Riot Eyes doesn't have any anagrams. In particular, it doesn't have one with S in first or second place. Anything through the D would not be as good as a play through the R, so I do have diorites. Nothing goes on the end of Scythens. So I think it's just the R of unaired, which gives me a bingo which gets doubled. What about the N? Wow, that looks promising. Surely there's a bingo with this rack plus an N. Ironiest. Well, that doesn't fit. Does it have any anagrams? Not sure. And opponent changes. Fantastic. Absolutely beautiful sound. The sound of opponent changing. So, Riot Trees for 68. And wow, I've got Whistlow. Will that play? Well, I don't think it does at the moment, which is an enormous shame because it's a beautiful word. And look at that, it nearly doesn't. WI isn't good, and even if it was, it's 1 square short. Is there really nowhere for it? I don't think so, and I think it's unlikely that there's an 8 apart from Whitlow's. So that was a super stroke of good fortune, opponent changing. He was in the lead. As it is, he changed, scored nothing, and I was able to get a bingo down. So I'm now 60 points in front. He changed 4, so I'm guessing he kept 3 pretty good tiles, one of which may be an S. So what am I going to do here? Well, I have Wahow in row M, which may take an S at the end, and there are still 2 out there and possibly 1 on opponent's rack right now, so I'd be a little hesitant about playing that. I am looking to play off both W's. They're not bingo-y tiles. And I can't do that in column 8. Where can I play both W's? It nearly works in column 4, but WA, not good. I've got with as a component part of a word, but LOW doesn't go terribly well with that. So I'm not seeing any particularly good W spots on the board. Which brings me back to wow. Over 30 points. And that has some merit, because if opponent were to bingo in column 15, there'd be scoring potential above the E of riot trees, which would have a W underneath it. So that would hold out the prospect of a 30-point response. Now, opponent taking his time. Does he have a bingo? Well, any bingo in columns 14 or 15 holds out the possibility of Whitlow becoming playable. Awa is good. Well, opponent plays in that spot for 29 points. So what to do? I could play who here for 31 points, keeping one of the W's. Let me see what this scores. 36 points, keeping ILT. And I'm not only providing a column 15 opportunity, I am providing that hot row K possibility. So I'm inclined to think that who is better. I would be retaining some scoring potential in the W. I could play wow here for 25 points. H is a much nicer tile than the W. But I'm providing opponent with the opportunity of scoring 30-odd points and opening the board up. Not ideal. 15 minutes on my clock, so I've got loads of time. But that's not always a good thing. Q's out there with 2 U's. I think I will play who up at the top. And one point in its favour is that it provides nothing for my opponent. I'm going with this. Horrible pickup. But I do have a couple of vowels. Now, why didn't I consider playing just wow above the E of riot trees? It does take an S, but that would be opening access to the triple word square. Okay, I don't know why I didn't think more about that, but I didn't. So back to this rack. And my lead's fairly slender, it's just a bingo's lead. And there are plenty of bingo-y tiles out there. And I've left alone I, E, and S, all of which are good floaters. I'm beginning to regret not playing wow. Anyway, can I do anything about that this turn? Well, I could. I could play wive. Wived, even better. Taking out the E and the S. 11 minutes on opponent's clock, 14 on mine. Now Mutt takes an S, which again signals that opponent may have one. But 24 points for wived. Can I do better than that? There's still the X to come, so that is super hot. But if opponent is playing off just 3 tiles, he probably didn't have an X on his rack. In that if he deliberately has an S and set up an S hook, then it's unlikely that he retained the X. And this certainly sorts my rack out. I am going with this. Wow, nice pickup. Not immediately seeing a bingo here. I would have Sout PL from an S. Well, that's a much better rack than I was expecting. Now I can place my P next to the I of wived, getting rid of the X danger, and also getting rid of the X danger next to the A of Acholia. If opponent does play a bingo in column 3, making smut, he won't be creating any new bingo lanes. But there's still the blurt possibility, and column 14. Wived takes an S in front. If opponent has 2 S's, he may play across there to create more bingo lanes. From his perspective, he will be thinking he needs a bingo to win. Now, is there really no 7 with this rack? And what about this floating D? Does that assist? No, I'm not seeing anything. Column 3 also holds out the possibility of a bingo at the bottom of the board, hooking ENE. But that would require an A in second place. Still 4 A's to come, none on my rack, so I can't play down there, taking out that S danger. Now, do I have a play with the J? I have JOU. Then it runs cold. Well, that's a shame. It would be nice to take out columns 14 and 15 as bingo lanes. And there are no other options which achieve that. I could play just JEU, but that's not wise, with an X still to come. Opponent taking a while on this play. And certainly the Mel play signalled that he has an S and probably an E as well, 2 important components of bingos. Well, he's taken out that X spot and played off just 2 tiles. Again, suggesting to me that he is keeping 5 good ones. So 13 minutes on my clock. Do I really have nothing with the T? No, I don't think I do. So I would like to play off the P. I'm still looking at the top, at the J spot, in case there's some combination of vowels I haven't considered, but I'm not seeing a play. Fatigate takes a D and an S. I don't wish to retain the U, even though the Q is out there. Just wondering about a play in column 12, but I don't think that's going to score very much. The V's of Jubes and Wived are inhibiting plays because there are no 2-letter V words. So I spent a while on this move and I've got absolutely no candidate plays in mind, which can't carry on for very much longer. Let me check the vowels. 15 out of 36, so slightly vowel dry, but not enough to hang on to vowels. Just wondering about a play down from the T. Not seeing a play. I think what's holding me up is that I want to play off O, U and P, and I'm not seeing anywhere I can do that. I could play poof, but the score's low and it sets up stuff for opponent. Just not seeing anything here. This is really frustrating. What about a play through the D? So my lead is only 40 points. It's nothing fabulous. So what about poof? It is getting rid of the tiles I want, and it's frustrating this S bingo lane, and there are a lot more bingos ending in S than beginning with S. I don't like this at all, especially with the Z possibility. In fact, I dislike this so much I'm not even going to play it. What about a play? I had a play in mind coming down here. Maybe a play ending OT. Horrible rat leave. What about this? Just up. I'm getting rid of the U. I'm killing columns 14 and 15. I am going with this. And I hope I didn't have the A last turn, otherwise I would have Jorp. I'm pretty sure I didn't. Well, I didn't like the length of time that move took. That took an absolute age. An opponent changes. Good grief, and he changes 5 tiles. Wow, I wasn't expecting that. And the action's back on me. And I was looking for a play through this V. I've got only 1 pointers. I'd like to get rid of both those. There are a ton to come, and I have a vowel surfeit. Just 9 minutes on my clock. So where can I play my O? Otic is good. But the best I can do there is just Tok. So I don't like that. Alu is good. I don't wish to set up new bingo lanes. So what about frustrating column 3? I've done a good job with up in terms of killing columns 14 and 15. Teeny is good. So I could play Tau, which takes out that bingo danger. Only 12 points. And a vowel heavy keep. Do I have a longer play, a TA, a 5-letter TA play? And in particular one which uses an O. 7 minutes on my clock, 27 dials to come. I'm going with Tau. Great, I draw the axe, and this is now a non-bingo-y board, so I'm glad to see the axe, not only for its scoring potential for me, but also because opponent is denied it. Now, I think the only remaining bingo lane is through the D, but that's going to open up access to triple word squares. There are tiles which go in front of Arla, in particular the G, which I have. But if I play down column 2, then I'm providing access to this triple word square. Just 7 minutes on each of our clocks. This is going down to the wire, and slightly surprisingly, since we both got off to such a fast start with bingos, and I felt we were playing quite fast originally. Now 21 points for opponent, and he creates a new bingo lane, but he takes out the D, which is good. So where can I play my X? I haven't identified a single place for it. So I'm not too worried about this N. Not many bingos begin with N. I could play links in that spot to crush it. The Y is quite useful for this, for going next to the D. I'm not seeing a Y play at the moment. Now, I can do this for 35 points, and I like that score. I am going with this. And I draw the Z. That is super good fortune on a tight board. Again, for the reasons stated in respect to the X, opponent can't score off it, and I can. So where can I score with it? There's nowhere obvious. Do I have a play from the Y? Opponent must be tempted to play from this Y. He isn't going to score that much, and he'll be thinking he can score a bit and open bingo lanes. But then there'll be the possibility of getting my Z tripled. I would have gold size through an S. I'm not sure about eulogized. Eulogized is good. Just 18 tiles to come. Now, that's quite a nice play. Harder for me to block. So I don't have any YA plays which get tripled. Only my G can go next to the U. So do I have a play? It's a shame I don't have another A, otherwise I could play an AGE play. Just 9 points for opponent. I'm looking to see if I've got a G something Z play, and I don't think I do. But what I do have is glozed, which isn't going to score very much, but it's going to score enough. 26 points. Yag takes an I, which I have. Am I creating a hot bingo lane? I think I may be. 15 tiles in the bag, and this takes out 6 of them. What about playing Yagi? That forces opponent to bingo through the G or the I, neither of which are massively useful, and I'm keeping a very balanced rack with a lot of scoring potential in the Z. I am going with this. So I'm not seeing any bingos here. I have Fez on my rack. Can I get my Z tripled at the bottom? Wow, this is a nice rack, but I'm really seeing very little on this board. I guess I have Fez, bottom of column 4, getting the Z tripled. Still got the Q to come, so I'm quite glad I didn't play glozed. I might have been hit with the Q. And maybe opponent's got the Q. I lead by 80. 13 tiles in the bag, which is quite a lot. There are a couple of bingo lanes on the board. Right, opponent plays off just 2 tiles. Fez. Well, there are 2 I spots in tie-in and Yagi, so if I do draw the Q, I can play it. Fez for 33. We're getting close to the bag having very few tiles in it. There's no U available for quiz. So I don't think this is hugely dangerous. I'm fairly short on time. Is there somewhere better? No, not that I can see. I do draw the Q, and I draw an I, which is good. So I've got chi and if at the top. Just 8 tiles in the bag, and they are pretty bingo-y. I have a 110-point lead. I've also got chi and oi, which may restrict bingos in column 15, but not massively. But small margins can be important. I've got chi and in at the bottom, which may be the highest scoring possibility. Although there's not much between the options. ZO is good, but if I'd played a Z play in column 2, ZO takes an A and a D in front, both of which are out there. Through an A, I would have Caddy and Cade. Four minutes on opponent's clock, 3 on mine. Are there any other Q spots? Well, I guess there's just QI onto the eye of Yagi, which would totally take out column 15. And I could play Chin in that spot. So no I's or U's left, and opponent doesn't know that I have the Q. From a C, I would have Sank, but neither C is available. Through A and K, I would have Capique. Where are the U's on the board? There's Unaired, Blurt, Up, and Hour, so none of those is available. And I think I've considered all of the available I's. My lead is 120, and if opponent bingos, well, he will draw 7 fresh tiles, so there is still the possibility of opponent double bingoing, and that would be enough for him. But I'm wondering if he actually needs to do that now. Great, just 10 points, so he can no longer double bingo. He's taken out that chi spot. 3 minutes on my clock. I think it's right to forego score. To kill this bingo lane and inhibit column 14. Actually, I'm not inhibiting column 14. 12 points. I am 100 points ahead. I think this is the right thing to do. Chin for 12. Well, no bingos here, but wow! Fantastic bingo by opponent, 77 points. I now lead by only 34 points, and I can see what opponent's got. I think he's going to struggle to go out in one with this rack, and he doesn't have a play onto the Z. So what can I do? Have I got a 6 out of play, getting my P tripled? 2 minutes on my clock. Well, I'm not seeing such a play. I could play Pooh, keeping Lind. Do I have any tiles which go in front of Allah? And I don't. I could play Ployd. 2 minutes on my clock. Par is good. It would be nice to go out in 2. I think this game is 1. I'm far enough ahead. But can I go out in 2? Just wondering if I have any play which gets any tile tripled and which reaches the S. What about ploids? That's not good. 1 minute on my clock. I mustn't run out of time. And I'm still looking for a play which plays off 5 tiles, because then I can be pretty sure of going out in 2. So anything beginning with D. I'm really short on time now. I am playing poo. I haven't seen an out in 2. Oh, well, I have Lind and low. Is there a second spot? Don't think so. But I am 50 points in the lead. EDH is good. Opponent's got the H, so he could play he and Ed. That would leave Lind alone. I have lid and odd. I have now seen a play in column 14. I could have played in dolls, keeping PO. So I think that would have been my preferred play, because as it stands, I've only got 1 out and opponent could block that. 1 minute on opponent's clock, less than 1 minute on mine. I can't believe how long that up move took me to find. I should have had that in my back pocket fairly early doors on that play, and I didn't. So is lid the best I can do if Lind is blocked? Surprisingly few opportunities on this board. I don't have a tile for going in front of PE. If I'd played Poi, my O could have gone there, and I would have had odd as an option. Yeah, opponent does block my spot. So I think I'll play lined to stop him playing HE. And also to stop him playing EDH and Ego. And dined is going to be better. 27 seconds on my clock. So dined for 14. Do I have 2 outs for my L? Well, I have loss and la, so I do. Probably should have checked that before playing, but it's okay. Now, can opponent go out with EDH? Yes, he can. He's got it in column 14, EDH and O. So this should be the last play of the game. 15 seconds on opponent's clock, and I have 20 on mine. So absolutely every single moment of time taken. And opponent doesn't go out. Interesting. So where did I see for my L? I think this was the best spot. And the final score, 424 for my opponent, 476 for me, a winning margin of 52 points, so a huge win. Let's see what I missed. What a game. That felt like it lasted forever, and it did. So it was me to go first, and Well, only 12 points, retaining DNQ. I think changing is better. Great bingo by opponent with a Cholia. And I come back with Citherns as a double-double. So flying start for us. Opponent plays Jubes. And now I have Fatigate, which put me into the lead. But not for long. Opponent comes back with Unaired, and I now trail by 30. And Jilt was available. Interesting, I would have played that if I'd seen it. Probably. And probably not, because Blurt is only 7 points behind with a much better rack leave. Opponent has the Q. And he changes. Which is great for me, because I have a choice of bingos. Opponent's rack plays Kit. And I have Whitlow, nowhere for it. But Thiao available through this E. That's a nice play, 41 points. Wow, I thought about. And WOW, either above or below the E of Riot Trees, is the play I think I should have made. So I play Who. Opponent plays Mel, and when he played that, he did have the S, so that was a correct inference that he had it. Horrible rack for me. M2 wived through this E. I preferred to play it through Riot Trees in order to take out bingo lanes. Unbalanced rack for opponent. Plays M. And this was the rack I spent forever on, so 13 minutes when I started on this play. M7 Pi, keeping lout, that's not too terrible. But nothing great on offer here, and none of these rack leaves look fantastic, so I think up has merit. It's not as good as the score and rack leaves of the other plays here, but it is taking out bingo lanes, and given that my opponent has an S and I have a slender lead, I think that is worth something. My poor opponent, no vowels at all. He changes. Ooh, idle, N2. That's nice, except it's not, because it opens up row O. And it may take a Z in front. So what do? I play Tau to take out the S danger of column 3, so I am shutting down bingo lanes, and I think that's the right thing to do. Opponent's rack. No bingo, plays tie-in to create a new lane. And I struggled here. J to Goyle, that's nice, 37 points, retaining the X. Yeah, I think I would have done that if I'd seen it. Goldie, also nice. So I play Yex for a decent score, and actually these three plays look fairly close. There's merit in all of them. Now opponent, having had no vowels, is swamped, so he's a little unfortunate. Plays Awa. And J2, glows down here for 53 points. That would have been nice. I considered it in column 14. And in the end, I play Yagi for 24, which is not as good. Opponent's rack, non-bingo-y. Plays Ob. K2 Zendo. So here I play Fez for 33. I was short on time. And I don't like the plays in column 2 beginning with Z because of the A and D hooks. Now opponent's rack looking a lot more bingo-y. And he has one. Rosaries. Wow. C15. Through the I. How does that work? Yes, Oz and Abba. Opponent doesn't play it. Plays Roo. And I have the Q. And I play Chin to take out that I as a bingo floater. But opponent has a bingo through the N, a choice of bingos, and plays Nearness for a late scare. So opponent comes to within 30 points, but the remaining 4 tiles don't work for him. And any 4 tiles, he would have been up against it. So Poinds was available. That would have been nice. And Polios, gosh. Okay, so there were bingos there. There were, good plays there. I played Pooh. Opponent blocks my out with Go. And I played dined for 14, that looks fine. An opponent does have an out and doesn't play it, plays A. And finally, lob for 5. D14. Lob for 5, and I played la for 4, so 1 point shipped at the death. So, what a game. Absolutely flying start for both of us. But then it ended up being a slightly doer struggle with an opponent needing a bingo to catch up, and there were bingo lanes on the board, which I was feverishly trying to shut down, but to no avail because opponent managed to get nearness down. Fortunately, I was far enough ahead to survive that late blow and emerged as the winner. So many thanks to my opponent for a great battle. I hope you enjoyed watching that game, and I will see you next time.